Alexander Isak.
Well, Alex, it's done. You're a Liverpool player.
Hugo Ekitike.
Feel very proud. Obviously, it's a big club.
Liverpool's new dynamic duo. Their attack looks completely different, and fans finally have a glimpse of what the future might hold after Salah. It's unreal how the Reds got both, especially given how similar the two are in style. Both are tall, technical strikers who are comfortable with the ball at their feet. Both can stretch defenses with their movement and create chances out of nothing. And most importantly, both are hungry. They are players who want to prove themselves at the very top of the game.
I want to win everything.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
You say you should be doing better, but don't be too hard on yourself. You were pretty good tonight.
Together, they give Liverpool something new. A blend of proven quality in Isak and raw, exciting talent in Ekitike.
Exciting to think that, Liverpool are buying sort of ready-made, world-class players rather than turning them into world-class players.
But the real question is, how will they fit together? The two are so similar that everyone assumed Liverpool would only get one of them.
You really thought it was going to be Ekitike or Isak, and for them to come away with both of them.
Instead, both are wearing red, and Newcastle are stuck with a 7-foot striker who rates Kai Havertz.
Who's your favourite German player of all time?
I like Kai Havertz.
In previous seasons, Isak and Ekitike operated in almost identical areas of the pitch. Both love to drop deep towards the center circle, they like to link up with their midfielders, but still maintained a presence in the box. The major difference is that Isak is further ahead in his career. Ekitike came to Liverpool after coming off the back of a season where he was finally getting regular first-team football. Meanwhile, Isak has shown for the last 3 years that he's one of the best strikers out there. He was Newcastle's best striker since Alan Shearer. He scored 62 goals in 109 games and was central to ending their long trophy drought, scoring in the final against Liverpool. Again, this dialogue between him and Van Dijk, it's aged beautifully. In the Premier League alone, only Haaland and Salah had scored more goals than Isak in the last 2 seasons. But there's so much more to his game than just scoring. In the 2024-2025 season, he created 50 chances from open play, by far the best creative season of his career. He wasn't just waiting in the box, he was getting involved, making things happen on his own. He was also pressing well, winning the ball high up the pitch almost as much as Salah and Gakpo, which is quite impressive given the fact that Newcastle didn't press as aggressively as Liverpool did. Then on the ball, Isak was very active. In the Premier League, he averaged almost 37 touches per 90 minutes, more than most Premier League strikers. That involvement once again shows he's not just a poacher, he's a forward who thrives as a part of the build-up. But naturally, as he is a striker, goals are his bread and butter. He hit landmark after landmark at Newcastle. He became the fastest Swedish player to 50 Premier League goals. He scored in 8 straight league games, joining legends like Vardy and Ruud van Nistelrooy. He scored against the biggest teams: Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs. I had Manchester United on this list too, but I don't really know if they can be considered a big team anymore. His finishing numbers are elite too. He converted over 26% of his non-penalty shots in the 2024-2025 season, which was better than both Haaland and Salah. And his movement is top class. He constantly makes runs into the box or in behind defenders, giving his teammates endless options. Remember how Liverpool were struggling to get shots off centrally in the box? Well, that's the exact area that Isak dominates in. Only a few other players have scored more goals in the 6-yard box in a single Premier League season since 2018-2019 than Isak. Look at his performance against Ipswich. 9 of 32 touches in the opposition box, and all of his goals coming from within the area. This is the part of his game that will make Slot's balls tingle. Cause imagine Kerkez, Frimpong, Wirtz, Salah all being able to create chances for someone who can actually put the ball in the back of the net. Look at his goal against Spurs. That low cross from Murphy into Isak has become a trademark for the Magpies. Murphy's assist for him against Aston Villa was a carbon copy of the Spurs goal. Initially, Isak remains offside, keeping himself unmarked, while Guimaraes plays a through ball into Murphy. The pass puts Isak onside, with Murphy moving into a cutback position, and boom, another back post tap in for Isak. It's an area of his game that he's been working on.
Something you're working on in training?
I think it's a combination. Obviously, I always want the ball in the box, but we've been speaking about it as well with the gaffer and to play more centrally.
Since then, he has refined his movement, increasing his one-touch shot rate by 15%. At the time of that interview, he only had 4 6-yard goals. Since then, only Haaland has had more 6-yard box Premier League goals than Isak.
So is he the Premier League's most informed striker at the moment? Are we agreeing there?
He still drops in to help with the build-up, but he finds himself in more back post positions than before. A big reason for this was the introduction of Lewis Hall into the lineup for Newcastle. Well, Kerkez can do the same role for Isak, just at Liverpool. Look at this goal that the Swede scored against United, and tell me you can't see Kerkez making the same cross. Isak comes deep, links up with the play to Guimarães, then the Brazilian switches the play to Hall. Gordon goes infield, which occupies Mazraoui. That allows Hall to have more time, and it meant that Newcastle could flood the box. Isak ends up attacking behind Harry Maguire and heads in the cross. 3 center backs all focused on the runners, yet nobody tracked Isak. Newcastle scored from this exact pattern of play against Leicester as well. They created a 2v1 on the right back James Justin, and Gordon released Hall. Isak drifted to the back post, with Murphy and Tonali also crashing the box. Now Hall gets a bit lucky with his cross, which bounces off Connor Cody, and it goes straight into the path of Isak, who heads it in. But once again, excellent positioning from Isak. What makes him so valuable to Liverpool is that not only does he consistently find himself in the right areas, but he's also so efficient in front of goal. In 2024, he outperformed his expected goal tally by 3.07 goals, with a shot conversion rate of 24.7% and a shooting accuracy of 66.2%. Now, if Isak was just a good poacher or just good in the box, he wouldn't be valued at over 100 mil. It's the fact that he gives you a presence in the box while being the type of striker that can create something out of nothing that makes him so elite. Look at what he did to Everton. This is where he received the ball from Dan Burn. Now look what he does with it.
To get a fourth, Newcastle into the corner. He's taking on 2. Oh, he's beaten them. It's wonderful skill from Isak. What a run, Alexander Isak. It's going to go in. It's Jacob Murphy.
Then you have the chip goal he scored against Emiliano Martinez and Aston Villa. As if the previous goals against Liverpool weren't enough, here's another one. Look at where he is when Anthony Gordon gets the ball, and compared to the position when the pass is made. He accelerates between the Liverpool defenders, and he doesn't even need to take a touch because he lets the ball do the work for him. He shapes to go one way, then opens his body, and then a nice finish. Very Thierry Henry-esque. His blend of technical quality, intelligence, and finishing makes him a genuine difference maker. At Sociedad, he was skillful, but he didn't have the output. Then in his first few seasons at Newcastle, he had the output, but he wasn't as good at being a poacher. Now though, he's the full package, a player who creates and scores. When you combine his technical ability with the wide range of tools he has for finishing, it's not hard to see why he gets the Henry comparisons. At his best, I would say he's even better than Haaland, because Haaland is reliant on service from others. Meanwhile, Isak is the type of player who you can give the ball to him and you can just watch him cook. The guy's like 6'4", moving like a 5'6" winger in pro clubs. Only reason he hasn't exploded yet is because of injuries. That's literally the only thing that has held him back, which of course will be a concern, but if you can keep him healthy, you're set. With Liverpool creating more chances than Newcastle, he can become even more dangerous. Now, with players like Ekitike, Wirtz, Gakpo, and even Ngomoa coming through, Liverpool are building an attack for both the present and the future. Depth is key when you're aiming to compete on all fronts, and Isak gives them both consistency and star quality. If he keeps up his Newcastle form, Liverpool fans will be thrilled, and if he gets even better, then his transfer fee will end up looking like a bargain. Now, Ekitike has been on a similar journey as Isak, he's just in an earlier stage. As Liverpool fans have already seen, he is a tall, quick, technically gifted striker who can progress the ball and has an eye for goal. Again, very similar to Isak. People were worried that he wouldn't come with the same guarantees as Isak, but he outperformed expectations from the moment he put on the red jersey. He is an elegant dribbler who thrives in open space, creates for his teammates, and picks his moments to attack the box. When we look at the data, only looking at players who played at least 1,500 minutes across the top 5 European leagues in the 2024-2025 season, Ekitike ranked 5th for non-penalty expected goals per 90, and among the top 50 for expected goals assisted. He was higher than Isak in both metrics. As someone who is a threat in front of goal as well as creatively, that placed Ekitike among the most threatening attackers in European football in the last season. Of attacking midfielders, wingers, and forwards to play 1,500 minutes across those top 5 European leagues, only a few players were able to average a higher combined non-penalty expected goals and expected goals assisted per 90 than Ekitike. His knack of being able to get himself into great positions in front of goal goal was very clear in the 2024-2025 season, with the Frenchman accumulating the third highest expected goal total from non-penalty shots across the top 5 European leagues, and ranking joint 6th for non-penalty shots inside the box. He's somebody who thrived in the spaces that were created while attacking in transition at Frankfurt. Only 3 players across Europe's top 5 leagues had more shots following ball carries in the 2024-2025 season than he did, and that was Yamal, Mbappe, and Mason Greenwood. Good company to be a part of, except for that third guy. Ekitike's pace and smart movement constantly put him in dangerous spots. Take his Europa League goal against Victoria Pilsen. He shook off 2 defenders, played a quick 1-2 with Rasmus Christensen, then burst into the box to slot it home. His goal map shows that he's always alert in the box. 8 of his goals came from right inside the 6-yard area, proving that he really does have a poacher's instinct. Now, Slot's Liverpool may have focused more on possession in its first title-winning season, but they've never lost their counter-attacking edge. In fact, across Europe's top 4 leagues, only Ekitike's Frankfurt had created more expected goals from fast breaks, but Liverpool were more clinical, scoring way more from those situations. Now, for Frankfurt, Ekitike was central to many of those counter-attacking moves. He was either finishing them off himself or creating the chance for a teammate. He showed that he can really trouble defenders in different ways. In the Europa League quarterfinals against Spurs, he picked the ball up after a turnover, drove straight at the back line, and smashed in a shot from the edge of the box. A couple of months earlier in the Bundesliga, away at Borussia Mönchengladbach, he grabbed the ball in his own half, twisted a defender inside out, and finished the move himself. He's very calm and confident when dribbling, as evident from his goal against Bournemouth. He uses body feints and little tricks to beat the opponent, like the nutmeg against Ajax in the Europa League round of 16, which he capped off with a clinical finish. Ekitike is at his best when there's space to attack, something his Bundesliga ball carrying map from the previous season makes very clear. Look at the following graphic. It shows his forward carries in the Bundesliga. He loves to drive forward with the ball. Nunez offered a vertical threat, but the final pass or finish was always missing. Ekitike, meanwhile, brings way more fluidity to the attacking line. This is a player that will get others involved. According to The Athletic, Ekitike was in the 95th percentile for key passes, the 94th percentile for shot creating actions, and the 93rd among all forwards for expected assists. So now imagine what he can do when he's surrounded by better players. It was Ekitike's powerful runs that opened up space for his teammates when Frankfurt scored against Leipzig. The fact that he can facilitate will be so beneficial for Slot because Liverpool already have direct wingers that can score goals on their own. When you have players like Salah and Gakpo that can cut inside and score, you don't need an out-and-out 9. You need a player like Ekitike who can provide you with more than just goals. The Frenchman's height makes him a solid aerial presence and offers Liverpool the ability to play direct. One long ball from the back to him, he can hold it up, then play someone like Wirtz or Salah through on goal. That's what Frankfurt did time and time again. Here he is against Heidenheim, bringing a header down to Mario Götze to begin the attacking move, and then he ends up finishing the chance himself with a simple tap-in. Ronaldo would be proud.
Oh, it's a nice one. Brown, tap-in Ekitike, all over. Heidenheim.
You can also play the ball to his feet and he'll produce quality-like passes that lead to goals like what he did against Victoria Pilsen. Now usually players that are this tall are only good in the air, but Ekitike is also super pacey. In this goal against Dortmund, he drops into space to play a 1-2 with Christensen, then crashes the penalty area finishing off the chance himself.
Painful. And a good ball in and swept home by Hugo Ekitike.
In the 2025 season, Ekitike was the only center forward in Europe's top 5 leagues to both carry the ball into the opposition penalty area 50 times and record more than 200 touches inside it. In and around the box, he's always finding space to do damage. He is very clever with his link-up play, constantly finding players from angles that you didn't even know existed. And he does it with flair. Salah will no longer be the only player at Anfield doing Trivellas. Here's Ekitike using the same technique in the DFB Pokal. Both him and Isak have a very similar style. They take a lot of shots, but they're also unselfish enough to create chances and set up teammates. They're not just pure finishers, they can also play as creators. When we look at Opta players' radar data, we can see how the players stack up across different parts of their game. In the 2024-2025 season, the closest match to Ekitike was actually Isak, with an 84% similarity. Then when we look at the numbers, Ekitike's attacking output in the Bundesliga in the 2024-2025 season was very similar to what Isak produced in the Premier League. Of course, Isak did show that he was a better finisher, outperforming his expected goals and having a better conversion rate. Ekitike, on the other hand, took more shots, got more assists, and created more chances. The stats are almost identical, which explains why Newcastle saw him as a natural partner or even successor to Isak, and why Liverpool viewed him as a perfect alternative in case their push for Isak didn't work out. It's also why the two of them have had such massive price tags. With Ekitike, Frankfurt knew exactly what they were doing. They were never going to let him go for cheap because they believed that Ekitike would soon be one of the best number 9s in the world. And they were right. Ekitike hit the ground running for Liverpool, showing that he was worth the massive price tag. Yet funny enough, despite his quality, there's an even better striker on the team now. So what system do the Reds line up in? The first would be Slaw using his traditional 4-2-3-1, but putting Isak up front and then putting Ekitike on the wing. In Isak's own words, he's much better through the middle than he is on the left.
What do you see yourself as?
I would say centre forward, yeah, centre forward. That's my position, and then I feel comfortable receiving the ball at the left side. I haven't really been as good when, like, the games I've started as a left winger.
Right.
Ekitike can essentially become the Diaz replacement, although that would mean benching Gakpo, who's been terrific under Slot. Before joining Liverpool, Ekitike had only played 9 games as a left winger, just 2 starts and a little over 300 minutes in total. But even though he hasn't been used there much, he's always had a habit of drifting out wide. The way that Slot used players like Gakpo and Luis Diaz, he can do the same for Ekitike. Both were one-on-one dribblers who love to use their pace to cut inside fullbacks. That style lines up perfectly with Ekitike's strengths. So even if he doesn't have a ton of experience out there, he really does have the tools to become a proper slot winger on the left. The other option is for Liverpool to play a 4-2-2 or 4-4-2, however you want to look at it. Teams don't really play with 2 strikers nowadays, but when you have 2 guys this good, there's no reason not to. Ekitike played his best football at Frankfurt when he was paired up with Omar Marmoush in a 2-striker system. Before Marmoush left for Man City in January, the two worked brilliantly together in a 3-5-2. They constantly swapped roles, one would drop deep, the other would run in behind, and their movement completely threw defenders off. It's a big reason why Frankfurt were doing so good up until late December. Now Liverpool won't switch to a back 3 anytime soon. They're not Manchester United. Running a 3-5-2 with Ekitike and Isak up front would mean that Salah got left out, and that's never gonna happen. But there is a way the 2 strikers could play together, although it would come with some risks. Under Slot, Liverpool often defend in a 4-2-4 or 4-4-2 shape. The difference though is that a player like Dominic Szoboszlai was usually the one playing as the 3rd midfielder. That gave them balance because Szoboszlai was such a workhorse. If you want to fit both Isak and Ekitike in as strikers, you will lose that balance. Suddenly it's just 2 midfielders trying to cover all that space, and that leaves Liverpool very open if they lose possession. Then there's also the issue of Florian Wirtz playing on the left. It's not really his natural position, though he has played there occasionally for Leverkusen in Germany. But do you really want to play one of the best number 10s out there, one of your record-breaking signings out of position? So realistically, this setup is probably something that Liverpool would only use when chasing a game. It's a throw everything forward kind of option when they need a goal late. Not really something that you could rely on week to week. Now of course, Liverpool don't need to force all their signings into one starting lineup with some crazy formation. If things go planned, the club will play well over 60 games, which means rotations will be key. They need fresh legs, different options, and the ability to keep the opponent guessing. Spending that much money on Ekitike for him to be a backup might not sound great at first, but the reality is this guy can cover 4 different positions, and he's one of the best options in each of them. Between injuries, the packed schedule, and Slot adjusting his tactics game by game, Ekitike can easily start 30 plus matches across all competitions without ever being labeled as a nailed on starter. And to be honest with you, top managers don't even think in terms of best 11 anymore. The schedule is too demanding, and players miss games too often. What fans see as the strongest lineup rarely gets used for long stretches anyways, and Liverpool supporters of all people should know that. But no matter who he plays, this Liverpool team is scary. I didn't even mention all the signings they made in the back line. To see just how good this team has become, you have to watch this video right here.